Streaming live now on News8000.com. You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now. This morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alexandra Carter.
I'm Derek Sibley.
It is Friday, November 10th, 2023, or Friday, as Derek likes to say.
Yes, we're going to start correcting you on that.
Yeah, we'll rebrand to that for sure.
Yes.
Our weather may not be so yay-ish today, though, right?
Yeah, you know, yesterday we saw a lot of sunshine.
It was beautiful.
Today's a different story. We're back to the cloudy skies again. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's going to be a little cool out there, too. Yeah, I know.
Get the jackets.
Get the jackets. Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good idea. As you can see, a lot of the cloudy skies continue to move in from the west, and we will continue that trend, unfortunately, through the day today, at least through the early afternoon. Current temperatures are in the 30s, 35 degrees in Eau Claire, 36 in Winona. La Crosse, you're currently at 39. Sparta's at 37, and Vroke was at 34. Prairie Sheen at 37 degrees. So, again, as we take a look now at your planner, we start off with cloudy weather conditions now through at least early afternoon. We'll start to see some clearing, though, by the time we reach around 5 p.m. when the sun goes down, and temperatures into the low 40s for our afternoon high temperatures. As far as your dog walking conditions, the cloudy weather will affect the morning and afternoon walks. I'm not expecting any rain chances today whatsoever, but it will be partly cloudy as we head into the early part of your evening. Stay tuned. I'll have a check on your schoolcast, plus another check on your full weather forecast in a few minutes. Alexandra?
We will see you then, Derek. Thank you. Time now for some morning news. Federal authorities are searching for the person who mailed trace amounts of fentanyl to election workers in at least 5 U.S. states this week, including presidential battleground states like Georgia and Nevada. While the FBI and the U.S. Postal Service intercepted some suspicious letters, it caused delays in ballot counting in some local offices. CBS's Chanel Call reports.
It'll kill you. It'll kill you very quickly.
A grim warning from federal authorities after suspicious letters, some with fentanyl, were mailed to election offices in at least 5 states.
They're processing the ballots, and then, next thing you know, they got to worry about white powder being sent.
A source familiar with the investigation tells CBS News more than a dozen letters were sent from the Pacific Northwest to offices in Oregon, California, Nevada, and Washington State.
We all know here, though, they're intentionally trying to break us enough to stop elections, and that's not going to happen.
Fulton County, Georgia was also targeted, the same county where former President Donald Trump and 18 others were indicted in connection with an alleged racketeering case.
You can't think of every single threat, so this now raises it on our radar to something we can train for and plan for. But it's also another stressor for elections officials that are under tremendous pressure already.
This just the latest instance of threats against American election workers.
It's been fairly consistently high threat environment since the 2020 election. Over 3 years ago now, we've seen abuse, threats, and harassment of election officials.
As pressure grows heading into the 2024 election year.
Investigators say nobody seems to have ingested the fentanyl, so the risk of an overdose is still quite low. But still, Narcan, the overdose countering treatment, was sent to facilities in Fulton County just in case. Workers at former President Trump's Florida resort could be called to testify in the former president's upcoming classified documents case. According to sources familiar with the investigation, federal prosecutors may call a plumber, a maid, a chauffeur, and other Mar-a-Lago staff to testify against Trump. Sources say some of the witnesses are from his inner circle. This comes after U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon has said she's considering delaying the case over concerns the defense team may not be able to fully prepare. The trial is expected to begin in May of 2024 if it's not postponed. And we have an updated recall warning for pet owners this morning. Mid-America Pet Food has announced they're expanding a recall on dog and cat food due to some bags possibly containing salmonella contamination. Brands impacted by the recall, take a look at your screen. You can see some of these packages. They include Victor Super Premium Dog Foods, Wayne Feeds Dog Food, Eagle Mountain Pet Food, and some Members Mark pet foods. All of the recalled food has best by dates labeled before October 31st, 2024. According to the Food and Drug Administration, pets who are infected with salmonella poisoning may be lethargic, have diarrhea, fever, or vomiting. The Food and Drug Administration, meanwhile, has approved the first vaccine to prevent illnesses caused by chikungunya. The new single-dose vaccine was approved for adults who live in areas with increased risk of getting exposed to the mosquito-borne disease. People who are infected with the virus usually develop a fever and can possibly develop debilitating joint pain that can last for several years. Still ahead on your morning news, online shopping went up by 6% in the last year. We'll take a look at the numbers and tell you what's behind it. And more American companies are switching to a 4-day work week. We'll take a look at some of the pros and cons of moving to 4-day weeks after the break. That and more coming up later this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. Just in time for Veterans Day this weekend, this next story is about how one business right here in Wisconsin is giving back to those who've served. The Glass Note Candle Bar in Walker's Point is raising funds to help homeless veterans. The bar put together a special cocktail named the Rolling Along in honor of the Army song. Leading up to Veterans Day, 100% of the profits from the Rolling Along will go to support the Veterans Community Project. That project is proposing a tiny home village to help house homeless vets. The goal isn't just housing, but also to give veterans other services. Construction is set to start next spring. Veterans Day is tomorrow, by the way. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning is coming up after the break.
Our skies this morning continue to remain mainly cloudy, which will continue, it looks like, through much of the day, kind of a precursor of what's to come. Temperatures into the 30s, 35 in Eau Claire, 36 in Winona, and 39 currently in La Crosse, 37 Black River Falls, or 36, I should say, Black River Falls, 37 Sparta, 34 in Viroqua. So taking a look now at your zone forecast today, I'm expecting that our temperatures will be much cooler. Highs fall into the low 40s, 43 in Onalaska and La Crosse, 41 though in Holmen, and 41 West Salem. Highs reaching 38 in Viroqua today, with the low 40s pretty much everywhere else, including areas like La Crescent at 43, Winona at 40 today, Alma Center at 39, Blair, Melrose, and Sparta, Whitehall all into around 40 degrees, and it'll be 40 as well if you're in Eau Claire under mainly cloudy skies. Bus stop forecast this morning. Pack the light jacket with you, 36 degrees with cloudy skies. We will continue to remain mostly cloudy with temperatures at 43 degrees as we head back home from school during dismissal. I have a check on your full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Derek, thank you. We will see you later. In your consumer news this morning, jobless claims are remaining steady. That's according to new numbers from the Labor Department, which showed 217,000 first-time unemployment claims last week. That number was the same from the week before. Meanwhile, the number of continuing claims have risen for the 8th straight week. Those claims are at their highest levels since April. The trend may mean those who are unemployed are having a tough time finding work. With the holiday shopping season upon us, new data shows online spending is continuing to grow. According to Adobe Analytics, online shopping has increased by 6% since this time last year. It's also risen 14% since September. Adobe says consumers spent $76.8 billion online last month. That e-commerce frenzy was driven by big October sales like Amazon Prime's Big Deal Days. Experts believe it represents real growth and is a positive sign for the economy. America's steady population growth will come to an end this century. The Census Bureau reports the U.S. population will stop increasing by the year 2080, and by the year 2100, the U.S. population will actually start to shrink. The last time the U.S. population dropped was in 1918, when hundreds of thousands died during World War I and to the Spanish flu. The data found the U.S. population will most likely peak around 366 million. That number is dependent on immigration levels. More companies in the U.S. are experimenting with a 4-day work week instead of the typical 5-day one. But is a shortened week the best choice for employers or employees? Experts warn it might not be the ideal option. Ivan Rodriguez tells us why.
Once considered a fantasy, more and more companies are experimenting with the 4-day work week, testing what's always been the norm.
There were obviously benefits for individuals in the sense of having more time for family, rest and recovery.
But the benefits don't stop with the employees.
Having those boundaries really encourages companies to think about their processes, make them work more effectively, and make them more resilient and sustainable organizations.
When people were asked how different options would impact their well-being at work, 77% of U.S. workers said a 4-day, 40-hour work week would have a positive impact, according to a new Gallup survey. But experts say those 10-hour days could lead to burnout.
It's a question of, do you like a 3-day weekend more than you hate 10-hour work days?
The COVID-19 pandemic forced employers to embrace work from home and hybrid options. But now economic uncertainty is leading large companies to order their employees to return to the office. So would a 4-day work week ever be embraced by the corporate world?
We've seen a divergence between the largest companies really doubling down against flexibility over the past few months, but flexibility is still thriving among smaller and mid-sized businesses that are using that benefit, and flexibility is a benefit, as a way to attract workers who wouldn't necessarily consider them otherwise.
I think the 4-day work week is still a far-fetched fantasy for a lot of us. That does it for your morning consumer news. Now Derek is back with a look at today's forecast. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Alexandra. Hey, guess what? We both work 5 days a week, don't we? Man, that would be nice to work 4 days. But, well, we'll see what happens, I guess, right? City Cam 8 in downtown La Crosse looking at pretty cloudy weather conditions for us to start with temperatures into the upper 30s. 39 currently now in La Crosse, but it does feel like we're right at the freezing mark of 32 when you factor in the wind speeds out of the west-northwest at 13 miles an hour, creating a bit of a wind chill. Speaking of wind chill, that's happening in Eau Claire as well. It feels like 29, even though our actual temperatures at 35 with the west-northwest breezes at around 8 miles an hour. You can see plenty of clouds that continue to move across the area from the west this morning as well. Current temperature readings still into the 30s, not just La Crosse and Eau Claire, but pretty much everywhere, at least into the mid to upper 30s to start us off on this Friday. We're going to be looking at temperatures warming up to 40, though. Cloudy skies by around noon, turning partly cloudy, 42 degrees by 4 o'clock, and then 36 degrees under mostly clear skies as we wrap up the day heading into early on this evening. Forecast highs today, though, in general, just much colder compared to the last couple of days. You can see highs mainly into the low 40s pretty much everywhere across the Coulee region. The cloudy skies, again, continuing throughout much of the morning following that northwest wind here coming off of that high pressure that's going to start to build in, though. That may help clear out the skies a little bit for some of us as we head into early this evening and also into early tomorrow morning. But once this high, though, moves away, the cloudy weather will increase again from the west as we're watching a bit of a disturbance to the west of us take shape, and that will help increase the cloud cover for really much of the day tomorrow, as a matter of fact, heading into tomorrow night as well, and then continuing on into early Sunday morning. But as we head into Sunday afternoon to the evening, that's when we start to clear out the skies and things turning a little bit on the breezy side as the storm system passes to our north. Here's a check on your 8-day forecast, and you can see that we will be looking at breezy and warmer conditions as we head into Sunday. Monday, more mild, high of about 57 degrees. 58 on Tuesday, and we're not done warming up yet. In fact, we could be as warm as the low 60s heading into Wednesday and then continuing on into Friday of next week under partly to mostly cloudy skies. Low temperatures mainly into the 30s and 40s. Don't forget to, you can also download our free First Warn weather app. It's on the Google Play or the Apple App Store. You get current weather conditions, your First Alert or First Warn alerts that you may receive on your phone, as well as your 8-day forecast right there on your screen fingertips. But stay with us. We're back with much more news and weather. And that's still to come on News 8 Now this morning. For now, we're sending you a break with a look what happened on this day in history for November 10th. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Blitz. The Caledonia football team is back in familiar territory, the state tournament. 5 straight state titles from 2015 to 2019 for the Warriors. They're looking to regain their spot on that throne. Let's go to Rochester, Class AA quarterfinals. Caledonia taking on Jackson County Central. Huskies hot right out of the gate. First quarter, Roman Voss calls his own number. He's into the end zone for a score. Huskies lead it by 7. Later in the quarter, so nice he does it twice. Voss takes it himself again for the Huskies. Just like that, Warriors with some work to do, down 14. Caledonia looking to make something happen. Ethan Stendel with the heave to Fisher Waite. Huge pickup to move the sticks. Waite taken down inside the 15, but the Warriors can't capitalize. Second quarter, Huskies do. Voss hooking up with Ben Gallagher on the slant. Finds him in stride. The sophomore turns on the Jets. What a statement from Jackson County. Huskies go into the break up 21, and they keep their foot on the gas all night long. Second half, this is just too easy. Straight up the middle for another score. Caledonia with no answer for the Huskies offense. Warriors run ends one game shy of US Bank Stadium as they fall in the quarterfinals. On the volleyball court, the Warriors keep on winning. Caledonia makes it look easy in the state quarterfinals. Up in St. Paul, Warriors get the sweep over Concordia Academy. They're on their way to the Class AA semifinals today. And Mabel Canton will be there as well. Cougars getting a dominant 3-set sweep over Badger Greenbush Middle River last night. In the single A quarterfinals, Mabel Canton will be in action for its semifinal matchup later on today at 3 p.m. Many of our area athletes making the next chapter of their academic and athletic careers official this week. It's hard to find a signing bigger than this one. One of Boscobel's best is going to showcase her skills in the SEC. Greta Grassel has been an absolute star on the softball circle during her time with the Bulldogs. She'll continue to be a Bulldog at SEC powerhouse Mississippi State. Grassel's just the second Wisconsin student athlete to ever go to Mississippi State for softball. The senior's a 3-time first-team All-State selection. She's also a 3-time Southwest Wisconsin Activities League Player of the Year, as well as a 2-time Gatorade State Player of the Year nominee. The Bulldogs are getting one of the best Wisconsin has to offer. Back-to-back for the Bucks last night. They were on the road taking on the Pacers. No Dame in this one, so Giannis taking over. Count the bucket plus the foul. Bucks down 11 though, but second half, big man still at it. 54 for Giannis in this one. One shy of his career high. Milwaukee goes up 4. Pacers would tie it late. Cam Payne puts the Bucks back on top with this drive to the cup. But Indiana regains the lead thanks to Tyrese Halliburton. He drains the 3. Pacers go back up 1. And despite a monster effort from Giannis, Bucks come up short on the road, 124 to 122. Wild in the Big Apple looking for its 3rd straight win, taking on the Rangers. Second period, Minnesota gets the equalizer. Brock Faber with the strike. Brandon Duhaime gets credit for the goal. He deflects it in. That ties the game at 1. But early third period now, Rangers on the break. Great pass. Alexis Lafreniere finds the back of the net. Rangers regain the lead. Wild's 2-game win streak is snapped. They fall on the road 4-1. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
Lori Phillips took the stand yesterday, the 4th day of her reckless homicide trial. She's accused of killing her husband, Mark, in a 2019 hit and run. Phillips detailed the events leading up to her husband's death, saying she and Mark went out for dinner and drinks with friends that night. She says Mark became upset when he heard a man she used to bartend with would be at the bar. Later that night, Phillips claims Mark became physically violent with her outside of a Southside lacrosse bar. When they returned home, she says their argument continued. Phillips left, fearing for her safety. She believes Mark was standing by the driver's side door as she sped away. She didn't think she hit him, she said.
Did you have the sense when you left that you thought you had hit Mark or struck him in some respect?
Not one time, no.
Lori, if you had had that sense that you had injured Mark or you had hit him with the truck, what would your response have been?
I would have stopped. I would have stopped and helped him.
No objection.
Okay.
The prosecution is expected to cross-examine Phillips when the trial continues later today. If convicted, she faces up to 25 years in prison. This morning, we take a closer look at the issues facing officers working in the aging Winona County law enforcement facility. From cramped quarters to non-ADA compliant restrooms, many parts of the building no longer meet the needs of officers today. News 8 Now's Jeremy Wall has the story for us.
Small offices, cramped spaces, and non-ADA compliant restrooms top the list of problems for officers working at the Winona County Law Enforcement Center. The city of Winona is asking for $26 million from the state of Minnesota and other sources to fix the aging law enforcement center and take on other projects. The law enforcement center, though, is its top priority.
When the building was constructed, safety was not really ever at the top of the list.
Now, officers want a safer space where they can work.
As evidence handling has changed and the prevalence of fentanyl and methamphetamine has come. Our evidence processing area and packaging area is located directly within the confines of the law enforcement center.
According to City Manager Chad Ubel, half of the money they're asking for would go towards rebuilding or repairing the law enforcement center. The other half would be used to turn the East End Recreation Center into a community center and remove nitrogen and phosphorus from its wastewater treatment facility. If that number seems high, Ubel says it's for a reason.
Primarily, all of our engineer costs, architect fees, soft costs, and then of course construction. It could be used for land acquisition, so if there's property that we don't own.
If the city decides to build a new public safety facility, it would house all first responders and be in the old Central Grade School building or next to the fire station. Either way, Chief Williams is hoping something is done sooner than later.
We're running into the issues of health and wellness for our police officers as well. There's mandates from the state of Minnesota saying that you have to start taking a look at mental as well as physical well-being of your police officers, and these structures just don't meet those needs.
Ubel tells me the city's hoping to know by the spring if they will receive funding from the Minnesota legislature to remodel or build a new public safety facility. In La Crosse, Jeremy Wall, News 8 Now.
UW Health nurses say staffing issues are putting patients at risk. The nurses are urging the State Department of Health Services to investigate hundreds of complaints they've submitted to management. This comes a year after nurses threatened to strike if their new union wasn't recognized. Both sides reached a deal, but nurses claim UW leaders are not giving them a voice. The health system CEO says nurses are trying to use patient safety as a bargaining chip. A state agency ruled UW Health isn't required to recognize the union or collectively bargain. The union is challenging that ruling. The Wisconsin Assembly is delaying voting on a $2 billion income tax cut. The bill is part of a legislative package that also targets child care costs. The measure would lower the third income tax bracket to 4.4% and increase child and dependent tax credits. The state Senate passed the proposal last month. Governor Tony Evers is expected to veto the tax cut if it passes the Assembly. And speaking of the governor, he is supporting a GOP-backed bill allowing absentee ballots to be processed the day before an election. The legislation aims to ease the workload for local clerks and their staff on Election Day. Wisconsin State Assembly passed the measure yesterday with bipartisan support. It now heads to the state Senate. If the Senate passes the bill, it'll head to the governor's desk. La Crosse's Common Council will take up an amended ordinance on short-term rental properties next month. Councilmember Chris Woodard's amendments reflect some resident concerns that News 8 Now detailed last week. The ordinance now says properties can't be rented out for more than 180 days each year. Each minimum rental period is now 2 days, and the property manager contact has to be within 30 miles of the property and be available while someone is renting it. It also says anyone applying for a short-term rental license with the city has to notify any neighbors within 100 feet. The vote to refer the proposal for 30 days passed 8-4. The Doll Family YMCA opened its doors to unveil splashy new upgrades to its pool and locker rooms. The renovations will bring the decades-old facilities into the 21st century, with the first major facelift since the Y opened its doors in 1969, according to the CEO.
So, just trying to keep the facility, state of the art and giving members the facilities they expect to have nowadays.
This project, along with the improvements at the YMCA in Onalaska, were both paid for through a combination of donations and YMCA financing. Membership fees won't go up as a result of the improvements. The Tomah VA Medical Center hosted a spirited Veterans Day celebration honoring men and women who served our country. The event featured a patriotic performance by the Tomah High School Band, a presentation of colors, and a poignant ceremony honoring an MIA soldier who was later found.
Veterans Day is really about honoring all those who have served and thanking them for all of the freedoms that they have fought for all of us.
This year marks the 69th anniversary of Veterans Day. President Eisenhower signed the bill in 1954, proclaiming November 11th as the official day. There is a new faculty member at UW La Crosse, and he doesn't need much to command a classroom, just 4 paws and a tail. The Dr. Wags program is the first of its kind for the UW system. It provides facility service dog training on campus for students and kids with disabilities. News 8 Now's Dua Israr introduces us to the Dr. Wags program and its star, Dogter.
1, 2, 3. Strapped in and ready to roll, Jude knows what he's here to do. And we're gonna sit. By the end of this visit, he's determined to leave no pin standing. While bowling may seem like it's right up his alley, for Jude, it's hard work.
Jude's really coming in and learning a lot of things new. Zipping zippers, opening things, grasping things.
From the moment he was born, Jude was diagnosed with spina bifida. His spinal cord never developed properly. Oh, nice! For 1 hour once a week, Jude works on his balance, arms, and mobility. Can Rossi come and sit by you? Occasionally, he gets help from a 4-legged friend.
How you doing, bud?
Good.
Good.
Meet Rossi, the facility dog.
Yes, good job. This is really our opportunity to have students experience some real-world interactions and interventions with something that is just not all that common.
Rossi is a part of University of Wisconsin-La Crosse's Dr. Wags program.
I think Rossi's really happy right now. Do you think so?
He provides facility service dog training on campus for students and gives support to kids like Jude.
That is a really huge load for so many people with disabilities who are in limited income, and they're not able to, wouldn't be able to afford the training part for a companion animal.
Okay, Rossi, tug. Whatever Rossi can do, Jude can too.
Being able to see the things Rossi's capable of, like opening, closing doors, bringing him things, kind of makes Jude be like, oh, I can do that too.
Each class, Rossi teaches a new lesson.
Try to do fun things, but we are trying to do functional things, and sometimes they can be really difficult. So having that animal there makes it a little bit more fun for them.
And Jude gets the reward.
Rossi brought me a treat.
Sometimes the love can be overwhelming.
Jude can get a little overexcited, which kind of prevents him from being able to do certain things. So having Rossi around really comforted and calmed him down.
At the end of every session, Jude's got a new skill in his back pocket and a smile on his face.
I was excited to see him.
And Rossi's happy to hear those 3 little words.
Can you tell him to shake?
A good dog.
Yeah.
Reporting in La Crosse, Dua Israr, News 8 Now.
You're welcome.
A dog like Rossi would have cost roughly $50,000, but because of Canine Companions, he was given to the program for free. Now here's Derek to tell us what to expect for our morning commute.
All right, thanks for that, Alexandra. Such a cool story there. Looking at some cloudy weather conditions that continue to move in from the west across the Coulee region now at this hour. Pretty much a precursor of what is to come here for the rest of the day today. As we take a look at those current temperatures, right now we're into the 30s. We're looking at 36 degrees in Winona, 39 degrees now in La Crosse. A little bit cooler towards the north, though. In Eau Claire, you're at 35 degrees. Towards the east in Sparta at 37 degrees. So with the forecast today, 43 overall, a mainly cloudy day, and overall much cooler with our temperatures today as well. But at least the breezes will not be a factor. West-northwest winds at around 5 to 10. Tonight, looking at light and variable winds with temperatures falling to about 30, much cooler and under mostly cloudy skies still, though, for much of the night. I'll have a check on that full weather forecast one last time after the break.
Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
Yeah, we got a bunch of birthdays that we're celebrating today, and our first one is Liam, who is turning 8 weeks old. He loves eating and sleeping.
I think you love those things too, don't you?
I love those things. We can definitely relate.
Doesn't?
Me and Liam right there.
And Walker is also turning 8 weeks old. He loves smiling and going for car rides.
Taylin is turning 8 today. Now, she loves to play basketball and spend time in her Nana and Papa's farm.
And Camden is also turning 8 years old. He likes football, baseball, and dinosaurs.
Kendall is turning 8 today. Now, she loves koalas, unicorns, and cats. So a lot of pretty, nice hobbies that these kids have.
Yes, animal lovers too.
Animal lovers, exactly.
And Maverick is also turning 8. He loves baseball and the Green Bay Packers.
Quinn is turning 8 today. Now she loves playing soccer and playing the piano, something that I can't do.
Yeah, me neither. Laura is turning 88. She loves spending time with her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren.
Well, if you know a special someone that's turning 8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab. Stay with us. We will have the president of the Rotary Lights and the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club in studio to talk about this year's Rotary Light Show.
Oh, we're off to a cloudy start here this morning, which is a bit of a precursor of what is to come here for the rest of the day. Temperatures are currently sitting at 39 degrees under those thick cloudy skies now in La Crosse. West-northwest winds at 13 miles an hour, and that's making our feel-like temperature, in other words, that wind chill effect, at 32 degrees on the exposed skin. Meanwhile, in Eau Claire, it's also cloudy here as well. Temperatures are currently sitting at 35, west-northwest winds at 8 miles an hour, but it does feel like 29 degrees thanks to some of the breezy conditions we're currently experiencing if you're in Eau Claire around the Chippewa Valley. Look at all the clouds that continue to move in from the west this morning. Again, we expect that to just really continue for much of the day today. Temperatures in the 30s, 37 degrees now in Sparta, 34 in Viroqua. Basketball just shy of that 40-degree mark currently. Winona at 36 degrees, Preston at 34 degrees across southeastern Minnesota. Here's a check now on your planner. We start off cloudy. We'll continue to remain cloudy through at least noon today. I think we'll start to see a little bit of some clearing by 4 o'clock. Partly cloudy, 42 to the temperature there, and then mostly clear with 36 degrees as we wrap up the day heading into early this evening at 8 o'clock tonight. Look at the forecast high numbers today, much cooler compared to the last couple of days. We won't be in the 50s this time. We are going to be looking at highs today into the 40s. So that's because we did have a front move through, give us some cooler weather, and also the cloud cover helping to contribute and block out the sunshine here today, making it just cloudy and just overall cool with that northwest wind flow as well, as you can see there. High pressure begins to move in though as we head into this evening. That may help clear out some of the skies a little bit as we head into tonight and also into early tomorrow morning. But as that high moves away, we're watching another system brewing to our west, and that's going to help increase the cloud cover a bit as we head into tomorrow afternoon. The cloudy weather will continue throughout much of the day tomorrow here as well, as you can see there. And then the cloudy weather only sticks around just for early on Sunday morning, because after that we start to see the clouds clear out of here as we head into Sunday afternoon. But it will be a little bit breezy though heading to Sunday afternoon, also into the evening hours, as a storm system will pass to our north over Canada. Here's a check on your 8-day forecast, and you can see that highs will be into the 40s once again for tomorrow. Slight chance of a shower, otherwise mainly cloudy skies. We are looking at those breezy conditions settling into the area on Sunday, and at the same time those highs warming up into the 50s. Highs in the 50s again on Monday under sunny skies. Partly to mostly cloudy conditions for much of next week, but you can see those highs warming up into the low 60s by Wednesday and continuing into Friday of next week with lows into the 30s and 40s.
Thank you, Derek. This morning we have the president of the Rotary Lights, Pat Stevens, and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater La Crosse, Jake Erickson, in the studio with us to talk about, well, that's not you guys, is it?
No, definitely not a dog. Hey, but we do have, some stuffed animals here.
We do have some bears, though, yeah.
Once we get this camera.
So, yeah, thank you so much for being here. We will work on getting the proper footage in there, but while we do that, just tell us a little bit about what the Rotary Lights is.
Well, it's an annual gift to the Coulee region from all the area Rotary clubs, and it's a holiday lighting display that has as its mission statement to feed the hungry. And so we do a great job in being able to supply all the food pantries with a good inventory.
How many years have you guys been doing this?
This is our 29th.
Wow.
29 years, yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah,
that is great.
So for those who are new to the area or visiting, what are the Rotary Lights?
Yeah. Well, again, we have we've settled up in Riverside Park over the years. We have just about everything a lighting display can have in the area here. We have a live nativity scene. We got an ice rink down there now. We got 70-some animated displays. At any rate, great support from the community, both corporately and individually. So.
Great. And so we have this adorable bear, Buddy the bear. I wish that we could get a shot of him.
What's going on back there? Hopefully we can get the shot fixed.
Maybe we will wait for that question, Derek. So before we get to Buddy, just tell us a little bit about, well, so has the Boys and Girls Club always been involved in this, or is this a new thing?
Well, this year, with the selling of these bears, the proceeds will go to the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
But our organization has been involved with the Rotary Lights for many years, volunteering and taking kids down to the lights. But yeah, this year with the proceeds from these bears, it'll go to help feed kids at the Boys and Girls Club. We have 8 locations now in the La Crosse area. We serve over 4,000 kids annually, and every day at the club, kids get an opportunity to get a snack after school. There we go. Here's Buddy. Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
But yeah, every day kids get an opportunity to have a snack after school and an evening meal. We do family nights monthly at our clubs, celebrate holidays with kids with meals, and also cooking classes, and teach kids how to eat healthy and prepare them for adulthood someday.
So important, yeah, especially with the cost of food and everything going up. Very, very important cause there. All right, so yes, here is Buddy, and what he costs $20, is that right?
$20 for a Buddy, yep.
Okay, and so tell us where people can buy him, and then tell us again about where the proceeds go.
Well, we've got about 30 locations that you can get these, including the Rotary Lights gift shop in the park itself. That'll be available for you there at any rate. And then you can get them online also at rotarylights.org and so on.
And at Boys and Girls Club locations. So we have 6 locations in the city of La Crosse, where we got a huge club out in Holmen and a club in West Salem, and soon to be a club in Onalaska. So we have over 4,000 kids, like I said, and so we're selling 5,000 of these bears.
Wow.
And everybody could use a teddy bear.
Yes, so cute.
Yeah, so you know, whether it's for a child, a grandchild, or even if people want to help gift a bear to kids at the Boys and Girls Club, that's another way that people can get involved with this fundraiser.
Okay, great. And when do the Rotary Lights start, and then when do they go till?
We go the day after Thanksgiving. We start with a 5 p.m. parade down Main Street, kick it off with some fireworks, hit all the lights, and it goes every night from 5 to 10 o'clock through New Year's Eve.
Great. And is admission free? Donation encouraged?
Voluntary donations of food or cash.
Okay.
I've seen the Rotary Lights a couple of times now, so I'm looking forward to this year's as well. It's always a nice sight to see all the lights and people having a good time.
Yes, I've seen them setting up for quite a few weeks now, so it looks like it's going to be really an amazing display.
We got a rookie here that hasn't been there.
I know.
I'm going to bring her to Little
I'm very excited to see, even with the setup, and you know, nothing's lit up when I go, but it looks incredible already, so I can't wait to see it all lit up.
Absolutely.
And yeah, thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
We look forward to the Rotary Lights this year. Looking forward to checking that out myself.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Stay with us. More news is coming up after the break. Lori Phillips took the stand yesterday, the 4th day of her reckless homicide trial. She's accused of killing her husband, Mark, in a 2019 hit and run. Phillips detailed the events leading up to her husband's death, saying she and Mark went out for dinner and drinks with friends. She says Mark became upset when he heard a man she used to bartend with would be at the bar. Later that night, Phillips claims Mark became physically violent with her outside a La Crosse bar. When they returned home, she says their argument continued. Phillips left, fearing for her safety. She believes Mark was standing by the driver's side door as she sped away. In court, she said she did not think she hit him.
Did you have the sense when you left that you thought you had hit Mark or struck him in some respect?
Not one time, no.
Lori, if you had that sense that you had injured Mark or you had hit him with the truck, what would your response have been?
I would have stopped. I would have stopped and helped him.
No objection.
Okay.
There was no time yesterday for the prosecution to cross-examine Phillips. They have argued the evidence shows she intentionally hit him. The trial will continue today. If convicted, Phillips faces 25 years in prison. UW Health nurses say staffing issues are putting patients at risk. The nurses are urging the State Department of Health Services to investigate hundreds of complaints they've submitted to management. This comes a year after nurses threatened to strike if their new union wasn't recognized. Both sides reached a deal, but nurses claim UW leaders are not giving them a voice. The health system CEO says nurses are trying to use patient safety as a bargaining chip. A state agency ruled UW Health isn't required to recognize the union or collectively bargain. The union is challenging the ruling. The Wisconsin Assembly has delayed voting on a $2 billion income tax cut. The bill is part of a legislative package that also targets child care costs. The measure would lower the third income tax bracket to 4.4% and increase child and dependent tax credits. The state and Senate passed the proposal last month. Evers is expected to veto the tax cut if it passes the Assembly. Bipartisanship has been hard to come by in Wisconsin's state capitol, but a new ballot bill is getting support from both sides of the aisle. Democratic Governor Tony Evers says he supports a GOP-backed bill that allows absentee ballots to be processed the day before an election. The legislation is meant to ease the workload of local clerks and their staff on Election Day. Wisconsin State Assembly passed the measure earlier with bipartisan support. It now heads to the state Senate. If it passes, it will head to the governor's desk. La Crosse's Common Council will take up an amended...
That dog is
just killing me. All right, they will take up an amended ordinance on short-term rental properties next month. Council member Chris Woodward's amendments reflect some resident concerns that News 8 Now detailed last week. The ordinance now says properties cannot be rented out for more than 180 days each year. Each minimum rental period is now 2 days, and the property manager contact has to be within 30 miles of the property and be available when someone is renting it out. It also says anyone applying for a short-term rental license with the city has to notify any neighbors within 100 feet. The vote to refer the proposal for 30 days passed 8-4. Tomah VA Medical Center hosted a spirited Veterans Day celebration honoring men and women who served in the military. The event featured a patriotic performance by the Tomah High School Band, a presentation of colors, and a poignant ceremony honoring an MIA soldier who was later found.
Veterans Day is really about honoring all those who have served and thanking them for all of the freedoms that they have fought for all of us.
This year marks the 69th anniversary of Veterans Day. President Eisenhower signed the bill in 1954, proclaiming November 11th as the official day.
And as you head out the door this morning, our temperatures are into the 30s, low 40s, and under cloudy weather conditions as well to go along with that. Now, speaking of the cloud cover, the cloudy weather will continue through at least the early part of the afternoon before beginning to diminish, and we will see some little bit of clearing conditions by the time we reach the late afternoon to early evening. Highs into the low 40s and a bit of a breeze here. Not as breezy as yesterday, though. 5 to 10 miles an hour. 8-day forecast showing 46 tomorrow, mostly cloudy for Veterans Day. We clear out the skies, though, heading into Sunday and Monday, turning breezy on Sunday. Look at those highs into the low 60s, heading into the mid to latter half of next week.
Yeah, don't adjust your screens.
No,
that's accurate.
That's actually accurate. No, for sure, yeah. So we have that to look forward to.
For sure, yeah.
A nice warm-up here coming up next week.
Right, we will take it while we can.
Absolutely.
Derek, thank you. And thanks so much for watching News 8 Now this morning. We will see you back here at noon. Have a great day.